Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So we've got the log splitter in this week. We're going to do a bit more on that. So if you're new to the channel and you haven't seen the other two parts, this is a log splitter that I'm making for our own use on the farm. The hydraulic ram came from an auction. I think we paid £42 for that. Big bit of beam came from a scrapyard, and then the rest I've fabricated. So what we're going to do first is we're going to put the proper bolts in there to clamp that down, and I've just been to get some hydraulic pipes made so I can pipe the ram up, and then I can push the ram out as far as it'll go, and then see about making the knife for this end, see how I'm going to do that. So I've got some M16 bolts, so clamp that one on, and then put some proper bolts in there and put the rest of them in. Right, so I've got it plugged in. So this tractor probably won't have enough hydraulic flow to move it out very fast. It'll do just to get it pushed out. It's an International 1255 is a tractor that I'm using. Right, so that is it all the way out. So it was pretty slow, but like I say, tractor doesn't have much hydraulic flow. So you'll either have to have it on a bigger tractor or put your own hydraulic pump on. I'll mark across the end of there how far it comes out, and then I'll draw it back in, and then I'm not at risk of damaging the rod when I'm welding and what have you. It is brand new, is that? There's no marks anywhere on it. It must have been bargain of the year, that ram. So I'll mark across the end of there. I'll draw it back in, and I'll take the tractor out, and then I'll come up with a plan of what I'm going to do for the knife. Ooh. So the rest of it I drew in CAD, but I don't think I'm going to do with this. I think I'm just going to make it up as I go along. So what I'm going to do for a knife is, I've got some bucket edge there. I didn't pay a lot for it because it's like a job lot. I don't really know what grade it is. It could be HB 500 or it could just be mild steel. But for this job, it won't really matter. So we're going to use that. So bucket edge, if you look at it from the end, is shaped like that. Obviously it's parallel with like a bevel on one end. So what I'm going to do is weld two bits back to back. So the bevel is like that. Terrible drawing, but you get the idea. So that forms like your knife edge. And it's I don't know if it's 15 or 20 mil. It's maybe 15 mil, so it'll be two bits 15 mil, so it'll be 30 mil thick altogether. But then I want it to be removable in case we ever want to put a knife on with, you know, like a star or a cross or whatever. So that's just going to be a basic one. But then to make it removable, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a square out of here that's the dimensions, so that'll fit through. And then I think I'll cut a square out down here as well. You see me other drawing I've been doing to get an idea in my head. And then, so then the blade will all drop into here, and then I'll weld some plates on like that with a pin that goes through, one at the top and one at the bottom. So then two pins holding it in. Maybe doesn't need two, maybe just do one. So then it's pushing against this, like all that will still be there, there'll just be a square missing out of here. And then what I could also do is plasma some bits out that weld onto here, that come round there, then act as a backer as well, so the blade is pushing against like a backer. So then if you want to remove it, it's just a case of pulling a pin out, lifting it out, and then either putting another one in, or whether I make an adapter to go over that to make it into a star. I'm not sure yet, but just for now, as a basic knife, I think that's how I'm going to do it. It's actually 20 mil is that edge, 20 by 150. So before I weld them together, I just want a bit of a bevel on the edges that I'm going to weld together, just so there's a good bit of weld in between them. So I'll see if I can go along just by hand and cut a bit of a bevel off down there. Right, so that's that beveled and tacked together. So there's a nice run of weld down there, same down that edge. So I'll stand it on its edge to weld it up. I'll give it a bit of a preheat, just to hopefully stop it ever cracking and hopefully minimise any warping or distortion. Shouldn't do, because I'm welding down the edge rather than like on the top surface, but yeah, we'll give it a warm up and then we'll get it welded up. So I've got that preheated to about 150 degrees-ish. Should help. So that's that all welded down. I've got it sat on some bits of box section so my bench doesn't draw the heat out of it too fast. We'll let that cool down. While that's cooling down, we can start cutting this bit out of here. So with this, obviously I want to be leaving a gap between where it pushes to and where the blade is, so it's not pushing against itself. But in case that's not strong enough, I want to leave enough space so I can put a 200 edge, use 200 bucket edge, same as what I've done, but out of a bigger one. So if I need to, I can cut a bit more out. So yeah, I need to make sure I've got enough room to be able to do that if I ever need to. So that's cooled down enough now to sit it in there. I sat it in to start with and it got stuck. It was like soldering the stone trying to get it back out again. So I had to grind a bit off the sides of the slot that I cut out. It fits in there nice now. So it's 500mm from here to the top. That's 400mm. Thought I'd make it a bit taller. So what I need to do now is make something. Well, I think I'm going to plate that in like I've done that end with 80×12. I'll put some 80×12 down there. And then I'll have to plasma some bits out that'll weld onto this bit here. And then it will come round here, out, round that bit, back in again, and then down there, and then sort of taper off to nothing to put the strength back into this, because at the moment there's only sort of that bit that it's going to be pushing against. And to stop it, because it could, if it leant over at the top, the bottom could pop out. I did say earlier about putting a pin through it to hold it in, but I don't think it will need anything. It's not going to come out. It's 300mm from the top of that to the bottom of there, so there's 300mm of the blade in the. So it's actually 100×12 that goes in there, not 80×12. So we'll get some of that cut, tack that in first. Right, so I've just drawn that, so I'm going to cut 4 of them out, and then they'll go onto the side of the log splitter like that. I haven't got the blade drawn onto here, but they'll go around the blade like that, and then weld onto that 100mm of flat bar at the back, and then 2 at the other side as well, and that should put strength back into that bit, and it'll hold the blade without it popping out the side as well. So that's then cut out, and when I was cutting the second one out, I burnt a nozzle and an electrode out. I forgot to turn the power back down. I was running it at 95 amps through a 65 amp nozzle, so they don't last long when you do that. But anyway, they've cut out nice, so I'll give them a clean up where I'm going to weld them on and then get them tacked on. So they'll fit round there like that. And then it will stop the blade wobbling about and put some strength back into the backside of that. That's them tacked on. So what I want to do now is cut out the bit to go on the back here. So I made a bit of a stupid mistake yesterday when I was cutting the bevels on that bucket edge. So I should have known better. Well, I do know better, but for some reason it just skipped my mind. So when I was cutting the bevel, I should have had my proper welding mask on, because when you're cutting a bevel like that, the full arc of the plasma is exposed, and it's burnt my face. Face is all red today. So I need to get some new batteries for my air-fed mask, because the battery I've got for it's not very good. Unless you charge it up before you want to use it, chances are the battery's going to be flat. Could have used me normal up and down mask, but yeah, I just never thought for some reason. So I do try to look after myself the best I can, because it is a dangerous enough job as it is without exposing yourself to UV light and stuff like that. When I'm grinding, I always do wear that, because I can't be doing breathing in dust anymore. I always wear my ear protection when I'm doing anything noisy, and I always wear these when I'm grinding. I have had a few sparks in my eyes wearing these. I've managed to knock a few out myself in the mirror, but I have been to hospital as well to get a spark removed. That was because of wearing them, so now I always wear these when I'm grinding. So yeah, it's a lesson learned. Well, I can't even say lesson learned because I already knew better, but just need to think more next time. So I've drawn this bit that will go on the back behind the blade, and that's what it'll look like when I get it cut out. I'm going to cut that out a 30mm plate. I've got a bit of offcut of 30mm on, so I'll change over onto the gas torch and cut that out. I've just sat that bit on there, but that looks stronger now. It didn't look very strong before, but it looks better. So we'll give that a clean up, and then we can, I think I'll probably tip the whole lot on its side and then start welding them bits round. So I've got all them welded round. These ones here I might have a go at doing some vertical ups. Ow. So I don't have to turn it upside down. My vertical up welding is not great because it's not very often I have to do any. But at least with that, no one will see it apart from thousands of people that watch this video, because it'll be, when it's upright, it'll be upside down. So I've done them up there, they look pretty bad. I think I'm not waiting long enough in the corners. So I've had a bit of a practice on here. I've done one run and then I've done another one over the top. That don't look too bad, I don't think. Just need to work on my consistency a bit, but I'm going to go over them again. It's trouble when you're self-teaching yourself, you don't know if you're doing right or you're doing wrong. So that looks a bit better. That's my second practice run. I maybe should have had a practice first before I started on here, but I've gone over that one again. Still didn't look great. I'll go over them two again. Right, so that's them welded up. They don't look very good. They look worse on camera, but they still don't look great in real life. But yeah, practice makes perfect, I suppose. At least all the other welds look nice. So we'll turn it over now, do the same on the other side. So they're not great either, but it's not a very good position to be doing them. So that's one excuse anyway. I'll flip it back the right way up and get some good welds over the top of them on the top side. Turn it back the right way up and then I'll weld that end piece on and I'll have a go at welding them vertical up as well. Right, so I've got one pass vertical up done on there. It's not great, it wasn't going too bad there, and then I sort of got out my sequence there. This is the most vertical up weld I've ever done in my life, so I am learning. I think I'll go over that again. Well, I'll go over both sides again, I think, just to add a bit more to it. And a bit more practice as well. Right, so that's my second pass done, vertical up. I don't think that looks too bad for a beginner. And that's the other side. This side's not quite as good. It's not too bad. Looks better from that angle, and you look from that angle, it doesn't look as good. But yeah, I've got welded around there as well, just down them top sides, across there. So that's all that welding done now. It has gone tight as it doesn't wobble about anymore. I'll have to weld a loop, I think, on the top so I can pull it out, and then whether I die grind a bit out to make it not as tight, or whether I just leave it like that. And I think that'll want sharpening up. And then wanted hard facing as well down there, but I haven't got any hard facing rods at the moment, or wire. Yeah, hopefully that should be nice and strong. So that's that and done. What I'm going to do now is make some like guides to go on the side to stop the log rolling off. So I've clamped that bit on there, and I've tacked that bit on. Just ignore that bit. All I want off this bit is the width of it. So I've got that tacked on there, and I've just cut this bit out just to see if it's going to fit. So that's going to go on, welded onto there like that, and then that'll weld onto that bit. So I'll use 100x12 flat bar that will come all the way down here on both sides. So you sit the log on, and then it'll stop it rolling off. What I also wanted to do was I wanted to put some braces in here, because this is only like, well, it's 9.5mm thick is that centerpiece. And this type of steel is not very strong, like in the twisting motion, so I wanted to brace it up as well. So what I was thinking is I could use that as a brace if I put an extra bit on here. So it'll weld onto here and then weld onto that bit. Just means I'll have to cut a little bit off this slider, but that doesn't matter. And cut 20mm off that, and then that'll give me 50mm thickness to come down here. So I've drawn that in on shape, so that's what that piece will look like. Then on the log splitter itself, it'll look like that. So you stick your log in there and then it won't fall off either side. Now, what I said earlier, I wasn't going to draw it in CAD. What I meant was I'm not going to draw it in CAD first and then cut it out. I've just sort of made this up as I go along. Like when I did this bit, I drew all this bit first and then made it, where this bit I've just been making it up and drawing it as I go along, rather than pre-designed. I maybe should have pre-designed it, because I could have made these like interlock with this bit, but anyway. So I've got all them cut out. So I'll have to tip it on its side again, and I'll weld them in on its side rather than trying to weld all them vertical up. So if I had been a bit more organised and had that drawn up, I could have cut everything out at once and welded everything on at once. But to be fair, I didn't plan on getting these bits done today. So anyway, yeah, we'll get it tipped over and get them welded on. Right, so that's all them welded in now. So I've just nice plain straightforward welds on there. Then I did some more vertical welding. Vertical welded them and then vertical welded them. So they're not, I think I need to tighten up on me weave a little bit, make them a bit more consistent. That one's probably the best one. So that one I could have done just a normal level weld, but it was good practice. I'm quite enjoying doing some vertical welding. To say I've hardly ever done any before. So that should fit nicely through there. I could chop them bolts off and I could have given it, not made that hole as big, that cutout as big, but I sort of didn't want it So if you had your hand there, it's not going to trap your hand anywhere. That's sort of why I give it plenty of space. So that there's like no way you can physically trap your hand, well, until you get the log in, but that was my thoughts anyway. So we'll turn it over and then do exactly the same on the other side. Right, so that's all that side welded up. I think that one's probably my best one out of these. So I'll just explain for the people that don't know much about welding. The reason why I've gone up rather than just down is when you're MIG welding, and if you weld down, it doesn't penetrate properly. The weld just sort of lays over the top. It doesn't really penetrate. That's why if you're doing strong welds, you want to be going up. But it's quite difficult getting your technique right and your settings right. You sort of want to be building a ledge for the next weld to go on, and then you've got to sort of wait in the corners. If you have too much power on or too much wire on, or you're not fast enough, it just sort of tries to run back down again. So yeah, it's quite difficult. I do have some dual shield wire where you could have just welded up there, same as what you're welding on anything else. It'll weld up the same as it welds on the level, but it's quite expensive, so we're keeping that for a special occasion. So yeah, that is all that done, so we'll tip it back the right way up again now. So that's what it looks like back the right way up. Written on there, cut off clamps, because I need to cut off some of that so they doesn't catch on these when it comes past. But I'll do that tomorrow. Yeah, pretty happy with that. I think that looks alright. I don't really like this end very much. I don't like these. These should have been longer, but I was trying to be economical on how much steel I used. Right, so this morning I've chopped them back so they're not going to catch on these now. I've welded a ring on the top of the blade so I can lift that in and out easy, and I put another runner weld down it and sharpen it up a bit. It's still not that sharp, but so I want to put some hard facing down it and then get a real point on it. Well, I haven't got any hard facing at the moment, so it doesn't look like it has much travel. There's 44 inches of travel there, and the cylinder on the ram is 56 inches, so there's like a foot missing. Now I know that will be quite a substantial like nut in the end of the ram, and the piston will be quite big, the nut and the piston, but 12 inches just seemed like a lot to miss because of that and that. So whether there's a collar in it to stop it going all the way out, but then that pipe goes in there, so I don't know, it's just maybe how it is. But yeah, I think we can put it on a tractor and give it a try. So these are a few of the bits of firewood we've got to chop up. They haven't, some big lumps of oak there, but they haven't been chopped into small enough bits to fit on the log splitter yet, but these bits here have, so I might have a go with these bits just for a little demo.
You okay? Right, try that one. I'll come and have a look when you go. Fall off there and extending now. Look twice there.
So that was a successful first test, I think. Well, it was. It's still in the prototype stages, so there's a few things I need to alter on it. So I need to make something on here to catch the logs that you've just split, rather than them all dropping on the floor. I left that gap on purpose in case I ever needed to put a bigger edge in, but the wet and like stringy logs, it doesn't split them properly, so I need to close that gap up. So I'll either weld something on here, or whether I make another pinhole in here to move the ram that way. These pipes are only temporary at the moment. I'll put a proper spool block on it so you can stand at the side and operate it rather than having to have someone sat in the tractor. And then it's just gouged into there a little bit, so I think if I put a chamfer on that leading edge, I think where I've welded it, where I've done these welds, it's maybe just bowed this bottom plate a little bit, and then the bit that's sticking down is sort of sticking in sort of at both sides. I can soon sort that out. And then there's the pins to properly finish off, put lynch pins in, stop them coming out. So I'll do them alterations on it. Well, I'm not going to do them now because I haven't got time, but I'll do them alterations, we'll test it a bit more, and then when we're happy with it, I'll probably sandblast it and paint it. Probably make a blade that'll split the log into either 4 or 6 or whatever. So yeah, that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Please do consider clicking the like button and subscribing. keep the channel growing. So yeah, see you next time.